I have so many young people coming to my office where they're friends of, daughters and sons and all, and they want to know, could you sit down with my daughter or my son and give them a little advice? I would always say, study something that can help you after you get out of college. I mean, I see so many students studying things. I don't want to say anything about which, because I could give you 10 different names. Things that will never, ever let them lead a life where they can support a family, where they can support their children and their education and health care and all of those things. And I want to tell them, don't do it. But at the same time, if they love it, I always say you have to do what you love. But I would always say, if you want to be a teacher, you study certain courses where you want to teach those particular courses. If you want to be a business person, you should absolutely go to business school, and whether it's marketing or accounting or any of them. If you want to be a scientist, if that's your thing, you have to study that. So always study something, but when you study it, don't do it just because it's of interest. Do it because, remember, you'll be graduating in 2 years or 4 years or whatever it may be, and you want to use that as a base for a great life for you, your family, and you want to be proud of yourself, and your family wants to be proud of you. So don't waste that college time. To my way of thinking, Jerry, college time is so precious, such an important time, probably in a way the most important time of your lives. Don't waste that period of time on studying things that just won't help you. If you have to do it, you have to do it. But I would recommend you study something that's going to help you in the future.
What was your very first business venture?
Well, my father was a developer, a real estate man in Brooklyn and Queens. And so my first real ventures were when I was at the Wharton School of Finance. I did some little deals around Philadelphia where I'd buy little houses and I'd fix them up and sell them, and I had fun. But my best thing was walking around and checking real estate with my father. I loved it. I wish he were around today. He died at 94. He loved what he did, and he looked great, and he was great, but he just loved what he did. It kept him young and happy. He was a happy guy.
What would be one word of advice you would have for an upcoming businessman?
Knowledge. Knowledge. But if it's one word's very hard for that, but the word is knowledge. But you get knowledge through experience. One of the things people talk about is luck. And I do believe that people are lucky, and some people are luckier than others. I do believe that. But there's also an expression, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I can tell you 10 instances where I didn't quit when it was 1990, the world was coming down, the debt markets were to everybody. All of my friends and enemies were going bankrupt. I never did. And the times were actually just terrible. And even today, you look at times and you see what happens, and you have to learn. But the word luck is very interesting. But if I didn't work really hard, I probably would not, almost definitely would not be here today. And unless you had me up as a man who at one point was successful, but let's see what a loser looks like. So you have to work hard, because it is true. You can develop luck through hard work.
What was your favorite moment on The Apprentice?
I think my best day on Apprentice was really, because again, as I said before, Jerry, I knew nothing about ratings. But when I found out that I was the #1 show on television, I said, can you believe? I said, think of my father. I'm a movie star. I'm a television star. This was not supposed to be in my agenda. So that was probably the coolest moment, is when I found out how well we were doing. Sometimes in life, to be successful, oftentimes, most of the time, you have to follow your instincts. You have to follow your gut. You have to. Your parents may say wrong, your whoever may say wrong, but you have to do it. Now, speaking of that, you've got to love what you do. And I've seen so many instances where people with great talent went into things that they didn't love, and they failed. But to be a winner, and you're all winners, you've got to think like a winner. I would always say to people, and I'd see people, and I'd say, you got to love what you do. Because, if you love what you do, you work harder. But it's not work. Never, ever quit. Never, ever give up. Because that's the other thing. I've seen people that are super genius, but they don't have that gut feeling. They don't have that stick-to-itiveness, that never quit. And I've seen people that almost made it and failed because they couldn't go that extra mile. They couldn't do it. So you get something, you never, ever quit. You know, when people ask me about success, I've just started thinking about it over the last couple of years because I've seen a lot of it. You have to have an ability to handle pressure because no matter how successful you are, I have many, many friends and enemies, a lot of enemies too, I don't care, but they're smart. I have a lot of enemies, and I've watched people and I've seen it. And people that can handle pressure can be entrepreneurs, can be successful. Now, I have some friends that are really, really smart, but they can't handle pressure, in which case they should work for somebody, do great, and have a good life. There's nothing wrong with it. Because I almost think that's an instinctive thing, the ability to handle pressure. Now, one of the things I tell people about pressure is, you know what? They said, how do you handle pressure? Who's had more pressure than me? Have I had pressure over the years? And, you know, I mean, I get criticized in my hair, but it's not so bad, and it's real, it's mine. You know it is my real hair. I mean, I get killed. I had an article recently that was so good. It was such a great article. And then it had one line, but he wears the worst hairpiece I've ever seen. I couldn't show the article to anybody, and it's not even true. But you have to have the ability to handle pressure. And if you can't handle pressure, you have to know that about yourself. You have to know that about yourself. So, handle pressure. If you can't, that's okay. But one of the things I tell people about handling pressure is, remember, because they asked me the question, how do you handle the stress? And, you know, somebody actually said, Donald, you're so handsome. Do you believe this? I love this person. You're so handsome. How have you stayed so handsome under all this pressure? And I actually thought of it to myself. You have to remember, it doesn't matter. God matters. Your family matters. It doesn't matter. And if you say it, I have some people, they say, I've got to be successful. I've got to be. They'll never be successful. It's too crazy. They can't think straight. So you've got to be able to sort of say to yourself, nothing matters that much other than the real big deals with family, with your faith, etc. Okay. Always have passion. You've got to have passion for your family, for your life, for your church, for whatever it is. You've got to have that passion. You've got to just love it, okay? I always finish off by saying two things. Get even. Don't let people take advantage. Get even. And you know, if nothing else, other people will see that and they're going to say, you know, I'm going to let Jim Smith or Sarah Malone, I'm going to let them alone because they're tough customers. So I always say it.